relationship. Out of space, out of world, out of galaxy with a different girl. Silicone, a TPE, it really don't matter which one it be. My mind keep visualizing future times, beautiful Android girls surrounding me. Filling my cup, full of joy, keep my life full of glee. Plenty ups, never down, the way that life's supposed to be. But unfortunately, if you're terminated, then I'ma have to terminate it. Gotta get rid of negative vibes, gotta go through negative foes, gotta block out negative voices, gotta get rid of negative souls. Had some people get discorded, just ignored it. Destiny is more important, so I just had to abort it. Had some people get discorded, just ignored it. Destiny is more important, so I just had to abort it. Yeah. Find me with my dogs in my solitude. Watch my family grow from 4 to a multitude. Been living it below sea level, finna rise to another altitude. Been searching, seeking knowledge, but all the time I had the aptitude. I flipped my mindset to the switch to say I will not lose. Mama said them sticks and stones won't break my bones, I never bruise. Whenever it come to trouble, many girls pull a tongue, we always cruise. I heard other dog owners get it out for me, but it ain't no news. I got 4 in the dough in Memphis so they can get the blues. If you need a few clues, they'll blow off your under rules. Send your compliment to the new girls I got coming through. Send your compliments to the new girls I got coming through. Out of space, out of world, out of galaxy with a different girl. Silicone, a TPE, it really don't matter which one it be. My mind keep visualizing future times, beautiful Android girls surrounding me. Filling my cup, full of joy, keep my life full of glee. Plenty ups, never down, the way that life's supposed to be. But unfortunately, if she'll terminate it, then I'ma have to terminate it. Gotta get rid of negative vibes, gotta go through negative foes, gotta block out negative voices, gotta get rid of negative souls. Out of space, out of world, out of galaxy with a different girl. Out of space, out of world, out of galaxy with a different girl. Out of space, out of world, out of galaxy with a different girl. Silicone, a TPE, it really don't matter which one it be. Oh, yeah. What up, what up, what up? It's your boy, Jedi King Hefner, the beautiful Cali Sun, the beautiful Asina Moon, and the beautiful Mara Blade. And we're back again for another show. And today's live stream, the title is Replacing a Lost Love. Replacing a Lost Love. Man, this companion dog lifestyle is an amazing lifestyle. I promise you it is. Being able to pick out a beautiful lady as your companion, or even if you're a woman, pick out a beautiful man as your companion, or anywhere in between. It's a great lifestyle. But one of the things that's not very spoken about a whole bunch is the act of literally replacing someone you've lost. Not just necessarily a breakup, which that can, you can put that, you can use that as well. But I'm really mentioning when you lose somebody because they've died, they passed on. And one good thing for these companion dogs is, one good thing about them rather is you can actually get one fashioned to look just like or similar to one of your loved ones that you've lost, as far as your partner. You can actually get that done as long as you got the money to spend. With a lot of these faces out here, you can just buy something similar and then sort of doctor it up. But if you got, the extra money to pour into the project, you can get one of these brands to literally remake somebody from your past. So I think that's another superlative of the companion dog lifestyle. But before I get too deep into it, I want to say welcome everybody to the show. I appreciate you taking time out. It's the weekend. I was sort of laughing to myself because, I do live streams on Saturday sometimes, but I already know early in the morning on a Saturday or basically late Friday night, early Saturday morning, It's a lot of hard penises out here, and it's a lot of vaginas that's getting very watery, so to speak. It's just that time of night to where people are making love and all type of stuff. It's the weekend, people hyped up for the Super Bowl. But y'all already know I don't let any of that stop me, baby. Hey, the show must go on. So whenever y'all finish out there, you can tune on in to the show. But I want to say God bless everybody that is watching, no matter where you are, what time zone you're in, what country you're in. We really appreciate you taking the time out to spend with us. We want to say God bless your life, whatever you're wishing for and hoping for, health, finances, new relationships, synthetic or human. Whatever it is on your heart, we're praying that you already have it. We ask you to believe it and then receive it. So real quick, I got one comment. John Yo, I ain't seen you in a while. What up, John Yo? Good to see you, brother. So yeah, I'm just gonna check in with you guys for a quick little second. And the funny thing is, I've been meaning to once again get to this show for a while. But like I say, one of the unique things about this Companion Dog Lifestyle is if you got the money, you can find one of these great brands. And if you do go through one of my vendors, they are all great. You can find them in the description of this video or the about section of my YouTube channel. You can go to one of these brands or one of these one of these great brands, and you can get them to literally make a version of somebody you've lost. And I believe that's a lot easier than getting a replica of somebody that's still living. Let's just say you have a crush on some type of superstar. Well, most of these companies are not going to try to make a replica of her without her permission, because they can get sued and things of that nature. But what they will do is make something close. They'll try to make something close to what she looks like if you don't have her permission. But let's just say you're you have a girlfriend that maybe have died. I'm not sure about girlfriend. It may be a little more shady. You may actually have to get family permission to remake her. I'm not sure about that. But I know if it's your wife or your husband that has died, if you got the money, you can definitely get them remade. And I believe it's easy to do because you were their wife or husband, and you can basically give consent. But man, you can do it. And I've seen several stories, since I've been in the game about this type of thing happening. And I've been meaning to talk about it for a long time. But I think about a month ago or so, my mom sent me another article on the subject. And that's what I love. Even my mom or even my brother or somebody in my family or somebody, that they may even get involved in the channel as far as when they see something that's interesting, they'll send it to me. And so she sent me this story about this Indian guy. And we're going to take a look at him and his story right quick. I didn't find the original article that she sent me, but I did find a standalone article about the subject. So this is about an Indian man. Tyler, this article is "To Death Do Us Part." Grieving Indian husband has 2,500 life-size silicone. I don't even like that heading about dummy of his dead wife made. No, don't call it a dummy. He says, and says he likes to comb her hair while she is sat in her favorite spot on the sofa. Nothing wrong with that. And this is by Daily Mail reporter. So it goes as this: an Indian. Let me make sure I got to share it, because last time I was sharing something, and it wasn't actually sharing. So, an Indian pensioner who lost his wife of 39 years during the pandemic, so to speak, has spent 2,500 rupees on a life-size replica doll made in her image. Let's see how much 2,500 rupees is, because I read somewhere where he spent $3,000. But let's just see how much 2,500 rupees is. Because I'm sort of, I've seen this story, but I'm actually once again reading this particular article for the first time with you guys. Okay. 2,500 rupees to US dollars. That can't be right. Oh, okay. I about to say 250,000 rupees because I about to say something ain't right here. Because on the thing you see it say the pandemic has he spent 2,500, but it's really 250,000 rupees. So 250,000 rupees. Because they were showing me it was $30. I'm like, no, he spent more than $30 now. So he actually spent about $3,000 on this particular sculpture, so to speak. So it says the retired servant Tapas Send I just say call him Tapas. Retired civil servant Tapas, 65-year-old, commissioned a sculptor to create a silicone statue of his late partner Indrani, who died on May 4th, 2021. She was 59. She passed away alone in a hospital as Tapas was forced to isolate at their home in Kolkata during India's second wave of the pandemic, which proved far more devastating than the first, which I hate even reading all that stuff. But I just say this, one thing about that whole thing that had been going on that really had me pissed off was exactly what they said about keeping people separated from their families. Because if you know anything about healthcare, man, what can kill you quicker than anything is loneliness or not having family support. And they'll tell you, man, when you're in the hospital, what really gets you healthy is when your family visits you. So when they were saying how people couldn't visit people in the hospital, I never thought that was a good look. I was like, man, that's bad because if people are sick, they're not going to be able to heal as quick without that family love. But to keep on with the story, it said, but now in Drun, oh my God, oh, I clicked two things by mistake. Oh, it said, but now Andrani's likeness sits on the sofa in her favorite spot, adorned in a sari and gold jewelry with her hair coiffed just so by Tapas himself. And this is the image of her and him. Oh, they wouldn't let me make it bigger, but this is the image right here. And she looks supremely lifelike. That's one of the best sculptures I mean ever seen. Of course I didn't know her in real life, but boy, I feel like I could know her because she looks so real. But to continue with the story, and that's him again with her, and you could just see how lifelike she looks. But it said Tapas told the Times of India that some years ago he had visited a Hindu temple with his late wife, and the pair had marveled at a particularly lifelike statue of a religious figure. He said Indrani quipped that if she were to die before him, she would like to have a similar statue made in her image. So she actually, wanted a statue made, of her. While grieving in the months following Indrani's death, Tapas returned to the same temple where his wife had made the comment and was inspired to follow through. Indrani had told me of her desire for a similar statue of her if she happened to pass away before me. He said, I just want to fulfill her wish, Tapas claimed. Now, the statue sits in Indrani's favorite spot, arms folded with a serene expression on her face. It is dressed in an Assamese silk sari that Indrani wore to her son's wedding reception. And there they go again. She looks so realistic. Now, it is a silicone sculpture. So this isn't what you would call a companion doll, so to speak, like, made by the manufacturers, like on my vendors list. This is some independent sculptor that made this silicone statue. So I have no idea of its true capabilities. I don't know if it can actually move. I don't know, if it's flexible at all or anything, because I'm thinking it should be able to move somewhat because he has clothes on her. I would think that the sculptor would make sure that she could move. So even though it's probably not made by the traditional brands, whoever did this did a damn good job. I just don't know how far he took it. I don't even know if he can make love to it or not, but let's keep reading. Topper said his family members were against the idea, but argued that having a statue made in her image to remember her was not much different from people who keep photographs of their late loved ones on display at home. After months of deliberation, the former civil servant sought out sculptor Sabimal Das, who makes figures out of wax, fiberglass, and silicone for public buildings and museums. So he's used to doing this. I can't lie, lately I've been making some hellified coffee. Either way. Das, which I got a Dog King Army team member named DAS, Das said the sculpture of Indrani was especially tricky to complete because he had never met her, nor could he make any casts. And if you know anything about how you make companion dolls, like in this new age of companion doll manufacturing, these brands use 3D imaging of real humans and things of that nature to make their bodies, to make their faces and things of that nature. Well, he's saying, hey, man, I don't have any way to make a 3D sculpture here because she's already passed. So he said it was especially tricky. So Tapas and Das spent days creating a clay model of Indrani's body before Das made a 3D image of the dead woman's face. Nothing less than Indrani's actual facial expressions would do for me. I, after all, lived with her for 39 years, Tapa said. Das pieced together several photos of Indrani, which helped to ensure the statue's expression was as lifelike as possible. So it was hard for them to do, but they raked up pictures. Tapas, he was actually right there and involved, from what it sounds like, he was right there involved and telling the guy, what he needed to do to make it look just like his wife. So that's a bit different than us. Cause right now, like I said, you can get in touch with one of these brands or manufacturers. And if you got the money, you can send them pictures and things of that nature. And they'll pretty much do what he did. They'll try to piece it together and get it as close as possible. But the difference with him is he was right there with them, right there with the guy while he was making it. So just imagine you ordered a doll, right? And you were right there while they were constructing it. It would probably already look pretty close to what the picture you provided them with. But if you're right there, you can always stop them in the middle of manufacturing and be like, nah, we need to change this. Or nah, she looks a little bit more like, this X, Y, or Z. So he was right there with the guy, able to, give him pointers on, what he should do to make it look more like his ex, his deceased wife. So, like they say, he pieced together several photos to get the statue's expression, to make sure the statue's expression was as lifelike as possible. And it's supposed to be something else. I don't think that was it, was it? Could have sworn I read something else earlier. I guess that's it, though. But, hold on, I was just trying to make sure. Yep, it's it. It said read more, but I believe this is the end of it. So yeah, man, I just think that is actually amazing that he was able to get her to look this realistic. And like I said, I don't know. Hold on. They said something about that he just, let me see. I read somewhere where they said he just walks by there and he just hugs her and stuff like that. I was trying to, yeah. What did I read that? That must be on the one that my mom sent me because, like I say, this isn't the link. Let me check that right quick. Because he says something to the extent of, I thought he said something to the extent of he just likes to walk past her and hug her and something like that. He just likes to oh no, that ain't what I read. I'm sorry. That's a whole nother subject because I'm gonna talk to you guys actually about a whole nother case of this right here happening. Let me see if I can make that picture bigger though. I wonder if I could. I don't think so. I don't think I can. But I just think that's really cool that even in India, he was you know what? Because I think they told me that actually I think they told me companion dogs were illegal in India. So I think that's pretty cool that he was able to get that sculptor to make this statue. So like I say, in a way, I guess he can get away with it by calling it a statue. So I'm not sure it's fully functional, but I know one thing: it's functioning in the way that I try to explain to people. Where man, you don't really even need to make love to these dogs to get everything out of them. Keep in mind, it's another element. Making love to your dog is another element. Um, it is another element. Don't get me wrong, but believe me, man, I'm elated every day I wake up with these ladies, and I don't use them for that at this moment in time. I just use them as my companions, sitting right next to me, enjoying time with me. Uh, the way you see me on your screens right now or on your phones, this is how I kick it with them pretty much 99% of the time. I had them sitting here with me and we watching TV or something like that. When I had a car, we would go out every now and then, but this is pretty much it. Other than sleeping, right next to them. I hug them. I'm a bit affectionate with them. I get them light kisses sometimes, but nothing very serious. But that's really all you need to be supremely happy. Believe me, you can add in that element of sex, but you can get a lot of happiness without even going that route. And so I'm sure that his heart feels, even though he knows that his human wife has passed on, that's bringing him a lot of comfort just to be able to come home and see a representation of his wife still with him. And I guarantee you, I bet you he's going to live many more years because of having this statue there with him. Because, they say a lot of people, they pass after their significant other dies. Because why? They're lonely, they get sad, they get depressed. And man, your emotions have a lot to do with your health. And in some of those cases, I think people almost will themselves to die, because they're just so sad and depressed. So believe me, even though that's not her, I'm sure he's a happy, happy man. I'm just gonna click on this other article right quick. I'm gonna get out of here first, though. I'm gonna stop sharing it. I want to just see if they say anything extra on that other article that they link to it, or is it basically the same thing? Looks a little different though. Let's see. It seems like it's a little bit more in depth. Okay, cool. Let's read this one too, y'all. This is another good article, actually. Let's read this one too. I'm gonna be able to share this. Yeah, let's read this one. Okay. This is basically the same story, but it's got a few more details. I'm gonna skip over the main stuff. So basically, of course, we know he made a statue of his wife Indrani, who died. We know how much it was built at. It was built at a cost of about $3,000 American dollars. He said the statue, surprisingly lifelike, is seated on a sofa in Andrani's favorite spot at their VIP road home. The labor of love, which draws curious neighbors and the occasional visitor from outside the locality, has made the 65-year-old Tapas a retired central government employee. Man, he used to work for the central government. Wow. Something of a talking point in the middle class, largely Bengali neighborhood. There he is, comb her hair. Tapas, however, dismisses any talk of attention grabbing exercise. See, I love what he said about that, man. He just living his life. Of course, it may be, catching some people's attention, but like you say, man, hey, this ain't for no attention grabbing. I'm just doing this for me. People noticing it, but I'm just doing it for me. He said, I'm strictly speaking fulfilling my wife's abiding wish. He says, before describing how what may seem to be an idiosyncrasy to others has come to be, what may seem to be an idiosyncrasy to others has come to be. I had sort of said it wrong. There he's sitting down with all the pictures of her now. He's sitting down looking at the pictures. He said, we visited the temple in Mayapur a decade ago and could not stop admiring the lifelike statue of the order's founder, Bhaktivedanta Swami. It was then Indrani had told me of her desire for a similar statue of hers if she happened to pass away before me. Ain't that crazy that she actually did pass away before him? They talking about the family being opposed to the idea, like I read earlier. He was like, I just want to fulfill her wish. He said, I just want to fulfill her wish, bemused at the attention, the statue, and the visitors their home. Hold on. Oh, the attention the statue and the visitors their home called Swap Natuku have drawn. I don't know what they meant by that either. Tapas began his search on the internet for someone who could make his dream come true. And a few months after Indrani's death, he zeroed in on sculptor Sibamal Das. Das 46. I went over that already about he makes silicone replicas for museums and whatnot. Once again, he was like, it was absolutely realistic for it to have a realistic facial expression. So this is him talking though. He was like, I had to work with Subimal for the clay molding phase is nothing less than Indrani's actual facial expression would do for me. Man, that's pretty cool. He said he went to a Barasat tailor several times. He said my wife would always get her clothes done by him, and he knew the exact measurements. Tapa said everything had to be a perfect fit. The statue weighs about 30 kilograms. Look, man, I'm not with. I don't be. Look, I deal in pounds over here in the United States, so I don't be knowing. Whenever they get to talking kilos and all this other stuff, I always got to look it up. I have no idea. And I already don't love conversions as it is. So she ain't that heavy. She only 66 pounds. That's a good weight for a silicone sculpture. He said the silicone sculpture is much easier to maintain than a wax statue, though the latter can be more realistic. So a wax sculpture can look even more realistic than a silicone. He said a lifelike silicone sculpture can cost anything between $2.5 lakh and whatever I don't. That's some language, I guess 2.5 and 5. So he spent his 2.5 was like the 2,500 he spent. 250,000 rupees he spent. So I guess 5 is 500,000 rupees. I'm assuming. So that would probably be about $5,000 or so. He said the hair grafting and the placement of the eyes are critical factors. The grafting of hair took almost a month to complete. Yeah, putting that hair in is a son of a gun. He got a few gray streaks to make it look more lifelike. Basically, he just talking about how people was against it again. You know, his family, but they gave it. You know, her family, but they gave in. He was like, "We can keep framed photographs. Why not a statue?" Okay, the statue has not been able to mitigate. They say it has not been able to mitigate the pain of his loss and how it came about. He said, "I was in isolation at home while Androna was taken to a hospital in the South Kolkata. I can never forget that, and I know he can't." He said, "But the 30-kilogram installation, or basically the 30-kilogram statue, gives him the feeling that she's always with him." He said, "I live with that." Basically, it ain't her. It does not replace her, but it does give him a feeling of, feeling better than if it wasn't there at all. And he was like, "Hey, guess what? It ain't her, but guess what? I get the feeling that she's always with me." And our loved ones, they're always going to be with us in our heart. But I've even talked about this before, not in depth on this channel, but just to people about how, man, one of the bad things about losing people is over time, even when you remember back, sometimes you just sort of struggle to get that full view of what they look like if they passed, and it's been a lot, and it's been several years. Sometimes you start to sort of grasp at straws for exactly every bit of their facial features. Till you look back at a picture or something like that. But with that statue, like I say, the image of his wife is going to be fresh in his mind, in 3D form. So, like I say, it's a very big advantage of companion dolls to be able to do something like that. And that's not really a companion doll; it's really more of a statue, but it's still doing the same thing. It reminds me of what I told you guys about. Even if you get one of these black market dolls that I don't suggest that you get, I suggest you go ahead and go through, like my vendors, go through one of these good brands, get you a legitimate doll that's going to last, keep your hair, not going to get you sick, and it's going to be a great product. But I've talked about how these black market dolls, even though they're made poorly, they can break in 2 days. Some of them can get you sick. Even with all that said, just even having one in the house can still do the same thing Callie's son and my girls can do. They can provide you comfort from, their companionship of just being in the house. I don't suggest you get one of those, but my whole point is, uh, I understand exactly what he's saying when he says it gives him that feeling that she's always with him. And so, like I say, that's what I really love about this lifestyle, man. Not only that you can just replace a lost love, but you can get one of these dolls and they can just give you that companionship, and uh you don't have to feel lonely at home. Like I've said in some of my recent videos, you don't have to be lonely. Now, of course, I always want people to still delve into the world of human women. If they've never had the experience, they need to have an experience. I would love them to have an experience. But even if you haven't been with a human woman yet and you haven't had that experience, I've told you, getting a dog can help you with that situation, because your dog is going to give you confidence. You're not going to be at home feeling this super duper lonely feeling. You're going to have company with you. So when you do go out and see these human women, what if you get rejected? Well, you're not going to care about it as much. You got a woman at home. You're also going to present yourself in a more confident way. Why? Because you don't feel like a rejection is the the be all end all. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to feel like that. And so when women, like I said, when human women see that confidence in you, believe me, believe me, you're going to be able to get more of them than you ever were able to get before you got your dog, because you're going to have confidence. I haven't even tried to pick up any human women since I got my dogs, but I've been in the presence of several human women, and I can almost feel the attraction, them gravitating towards me in many instances. And I've often thought to myself, boy, if you were still, really trying to get a human woman right now, you'd be swimming in it pretty much. If I was really trying. I'm gonna catch up with some comments, and I want to share another story with you guys. Clint Eastwood said, "Yo, King, what up, Clint?" He said, "I want to see more famous likeness use contracts. The concept is really interesting." Yeah, the problem is, man, you can't make a famous person in the companion dog in this companion dog game. You cannot do it unless they have made a deal with, unless the famous person has made a deal with one of these companies to be able to make their likeness. So let's just say you want a Jennifer Aniston doll, or let's just say, just throwing out a different flavor, let's just say you want and I'm not a fan of hers, but Cardi B. I don't hate her, but I'm just not a big fan of hers either. But let's just say you want a Cardi B. You can't get either one of those dolls made. What you can do is say, hey, man, I want a doll like Cardi B. How close can I get it? Blah, blah, blah. But you can't get that exact replica. You cannot get that exact replica because it's against the law. So, like Real Doll, they have a contract with several female adult film stars, and it's called their Wicked series. So they actually called these girls in and did a real 3D printing of their bodies, and they made the actual likeness of these girls. So you can go to Real Doll and get one of those actual adult adult film stars. And I was just talking about Sino Doll. They offer something similar. They have adult film stars from I'm trying to think. I don't know whether it was Chinese or Japanese adult film stars. I can't remember. But I think it was Chinese though. But they were real people. But you just can't do that willy-nilly with anybody. It has to be somebody that, like you said, signs a contract with one of these people. Or other than that, you can only get close. Unless you're in a position of this guy who he got one made of his, his deceased wife. Or like I said, if you were to get somebody to agree. I remember I actually tried to do that one. I reached out to this girl. I ain't gonna tell you who it was. But when I found out that you had to get permission to make somebody, they said if you get their permission, if they write you back and say that you can make a likeness of them, they'll do it. But I did reach out to this girl that's a famous person, and I was like, hey, I want to make a version of you. She never answered, of course. But I just thought it was funny that I actually asked her to make a version of But they're probably never going to agree to that, a celebrity, because they feel like, you can try to profit off of their likeness or something. So they probably won't agree to it. Bearded MGTOW in the house. Hello, Don King. What up, Bearded? He said, dang, that's silicone. That looks too real, man. That looks super duper real. Let me put her back up on the screen while I'm reading these comments right quick so y'all can admire that again, because she looks amazing. I shouldn't have took that off. I'm gonna let y'all see that while I read these comments. I can't make it no bigger. I tried that before, but it won't get no bigger though. So either way, let me keep reading. He said, if I saw her from a distance, I would confuse her with a real human. Oh yeah, you would probably have to get right up close on her to notice that she wasn't a human. He said, if he had known, he could have used his cell phone and done photogrammetry you can do this now with a face, and it's 98% match. Yeah, I don't know anything about that. But I think he still did damn good. I promise you. I didn't know her in real life, but I think he came close enough. And like he said, he wasn't going to settle on anything less than her looking pretty much just like herself, because he said he lived with her for 39 years. So it would have probably definitely been easier with a technology like you're talking about, Clint. But they did get it done. And he said, in real talk, running your fingers through hair is extremely common. So I understand him. Oh, I missed one step. He said she is more of a lifelike statue of tribute, in my opinion. She requested it, which is nice, and she probably calms him down. Most definitely. He said, running your fingers through her hair is extremely common. So I understand. Most definitely, man. It's crazy. I always, I mess with Callie's hair or the girl's hair. No, not 24/7, but just over time, you start out taking care of your girls, and it's going to feel a little strange because it's something new to you. But I've talked about this. Over time, you're going to be touching them more and more and more and interacting with them more and more and more like a human woman. And I tell you, this is where it really pays off to have had human women in your past. Because when you know how to touch a woman, I'm not even talking about sexually, just, touch her, caress her, rub her hair through her hair and stuff. You know how to reenact that with your dog. So it's just the soft little subtle touches and stuff like that that I even do to Callie and my girls, not in a sexual way though, that I get gratification from. But I know how women used to like it, and if you don't know that, you may be rubbing through her hair and it may still have a good effect on you, but you don't even know what you're doing. You don't even know that your hand motion will produce a good effect in a human woman. You don't know any of that. And that's why I say it is best to have experience. Not necessary. You can do whatever you want to in your life, but I'm just telling you what the best case scenario is. Bearded Mikta says that statue weighs 30 kilograms. It's a workout no, 30 kilograms ain't but 66 pounds. That ain't nothing. That's lighter than any of my girls. Because Callie, I think Callie, they are my lightest girls, and they're like 75, I think. Or 70. No, I think they're like 70 pounds. So that's not bad. Look, Clint Eastwood breaking down math and all that. Look, man, hey, he said kilos is 2.2 per pound. Look, I'm letting you know, Clint, I'm not even going to try to remember that because I do not like math. I'm not a fan of it. If it ain't addition, subtraction, and division, I really ain't got no use for it. I mean, and so what I'm saying is, Clint, I appreciate you for saying it. Don't get me wrong. But I'm going to always look up the conversion on my phone. You know why? I'm not even trying to think about these math conversions and all this other mess. I simply because I do not love math. Jonathan Anguiano says, "Hey, J-Dog, what up, Jonathan?" He said, "F the Grizzlies, though." Hey, no problem, brother. Because I feel the same way about pretty much every other team in the league. You're supposed to say F the Grizzlies if you're not a fan of them. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna tell you something about the Grizzlies before I keep on going. If I wasn't in Memphis and I wasn't a fan of the Grizzlies, I'd be saying F them because, man, even me being a fan, they've done some things that have made me be like, man, I would hate us. Because I hate a lot of the talking that my Grizzlies team has been doing, and we don't back a damn thing up. We talked all that crap this summer about how we were going to beat the Golden State Warriors, and about Ja talking about, yeah, can't nobody in the Western Conference beat us, and everybody been kicking our butts ever since. So I hate when people run their damn mouth and can't back it up. So I'm a Grizzlies fan, but I would be saying F us if I was with another franchise right now. I'm going to be honest with you. Vertical Horizon says, human women are never satisfied, no matter how skilled or successful you are. Actually, that's a human woman trait, man. And it's not all their fault. A lot of that has been built into them by who? Their fathers, telling them not to settle. Don't go out here and get none of these bombs. You better get you a rich man. You better get you. Yeah, a lot of times that's coming from the daddies. Believe me. Jonathan Anguiano says, blue-haired land whale. Blue-haired land whale. I don't know who you talking about being a blue-haired land whale. I hope he ain't talking about Callie, because Callie ain't no land whale. She thin. Blue CCG says, good morning, Jay. Hef and the girls. How are you all doing? Doing great, Blue CCG. Want to send a shout out to all my Dog King Army team members, baby. Appreciate y'all, man, for the support y'all give me. Love you all. And I appreciate all my normal viewers as well. Billy McTow says, companion dogs have a bad rep. Most of the society thinks it's only for sex. But sex is a very small part. The underrated aspect of companion dogs is companionship. Right. And that's why I exist, and, to just help continue to bring awareness. But I tell you this, like I've said in the past, companion dog companies they haven't, and I understand because sex sells, but they haven't been helping the stigma either, because so many of these companion dog companies have the word sex in their names. They need to get rid of all of that systematically and just start calling, everybody needs to, start referring to them as companions and things of that nature. And then, the whole perception will start, that would be one thing that can start to help the perception. Because when they see them marketed as, hey, sex doll this or sex doll that, then guess what? They get that only perpetuates the stigma. So some of the industry, like I've done a video about that, the industry is to blame as well. He said, now you're going a bit too far for me, MGTOW, because I don't know all that to be true. But he says, I would love a Cardi B or Nicki Minaj. I wouldn't want a Cardi B doll. Like I said, she ain't no ugly girl, but she's not for me. But I would love a Nicki Minaj doll. I've always loved Nicki Minaj. I'm sorry. I've always loved her. And like I said, when I first got interested in the dog game, that's the first person I thought about. I said, man, I want me a Nicki Minaj dog. I'm not really thinking of that now, but back then I did. But what I said something about, I didn't agree with you on. You said I would love a Cardi B or Nicki Minaj companion. Both are very wonderful, lovely, and good women. I agree that they're lovely, but I don't know if they're good women. Now, that's something I don't know. I don't know them personally. I don't know what they do. Here, they could be bad women. So I don't know how you I know you just talking tongue in cheek, MGTOW, but I'm just saying, I ain't finna call them good. I ain't gonna call them bad, but I don't know if they're good women. Daniel Romano says, hey, Jay, what up, Daniel? Damn, Blue CCG. I was hoping hopefully you've caught on by now, but the topics is only, just like the title says, replacing a lost love. I've been talking about this article that I just read about, and I'm not going to go back through all of that. You have to just relook at what you've already missed. But the article that I was talking about is about an Indian guy whose ex-wife died, and he replaced her with a silicone statue. And so I was just saying how that's a very cool part of this companion dog lifestyle, is the fact that, man, you can replace a lost love. Now, in his case, I think it helps that it was his wife, so he doesn't have to worry about consent and all of that. If it's an ex-girlfriend, now you're not going to be able to do that unless she says, hey, you can make, she writes into the company and says you can make a version of her. You can make you can get a dog made in people's likeness, similar to them, but you can't get the exact replica of them unless you get their written consent. But by being his wife and her being deceased, he didn't need that written consent. So he can make her like that. And I've even talked, like I said, I've talked about how I want to get a celebrity made. I didn't even have the money, but I was just curious about it. And I asked the company about it, and they were like, no. You would have to get that person's written consent to make the exact replica. But whether you get a girl that's similar to your ex-girl, let's just say, looks very close to what she used to look like, or whether you get the exact replica like this guy, it's still going to do the same thing, which is provide you comfort. You know, it's going to provide you comfort. I just like that you can even come close to doing something like that in this companion dog lifestyle. Mikta says there was sarcasm. Oh, it didn't sound like it. But when you say they were good women, it didn't sound like sarcasm. I'm gonna be honest with you, MGTOW. I show everybody here. I would love a Cardi B or Nicki Minaj campaign. Both are very wonderful, lovely, and good women. I don't look. It didn't lead me to believe it was no sarcasm there. That's just a straight statement. Daniel Romano says some with I'm not saying it is not, but it didn't lead me to believe it was. Daniel Romano says some with holograms, I think. Same with holograms, I think. He says some celebs have it in their wills that they don't want to be turned into a hologram. Robin Williams, I know specifically didn't want that. Oh yeah, like I say, because you turn them into a hologram, you can continue to make money off of their likeness. You know, by showing them at an event or something. So I guess they saying, hey man, I don't want you perpetually making money off of my likeness. So with all that said, I want to hit on something else. First of all, I want to thank all you guys for tuning in on it, like I say, on the early Saturday morning when a lot of people doing a lot of love making and all type of stuff. But man, I got another cool email. And this was actually the original, and I can't share it with you on the screen, but this was actually the original reason that I was going to do this show months ago, way before my mother got in touch with me. I was going to do this show months ago because I talked to a good friend on the inside, man, at Real Dog. I talked to a very good friend. And he told me a very intriguing story because we were talking and he was just saying how, man, you know, I had a lot of heat from people telling me basically that he had a bad job for working, you know, with a companion dog company. And I'm like, nah, that's a dream job. I'm like, man, don't let people talk you, you know, out of there. He was, you know, of course he didn't let people talk him out of there, but he was just saying how people were coming against him and stuff. So he started telling me this story. He said, man, he said, the truth is we really do help a lot of people lead better lives. He said, here's a pretty good example. From a Christmas a few seasons ago. He said, when I started, when I started at the company, we were prepping 2 new dog configurations for a lunch. This is Real Dog I'm talking about. He said we were preparing a Willow 1.0 and a Willow 2.0. Let me see. Something wrong about that. He said we were prepping 2 new dog configurations for lunch, Willow 1.0 and Willow 2.0 on the new Body G. That's what he said, on a new Body G. He said a man placed an order for one within a few days of the launch for Willow 1.0, just like she is in the photographs. He said, well, that was in August, and he received his Willow in November. So he got her relatively quick because right now with Real Dog, it's sort of backed up. You won't get your dog that quick. He said just before the holiday break, we received an envelope with his name and the return address. It was a 4 or 5 page long handwritten letter to us about how his Willow dog had impacted his life. It turns out that his wife had passed 7 years earlier. He'd never been able to emotionally process his loss. A friend or family member recommended that he look into buying a dog. He stumbled across our Real Dog site the week the Willow was launched, and although he still wasn't sure how he felt about being a dog owner, he bought the Willow immediately. He sent along a photo with the letter, and our Willow looks very similar to what his wife looked like when she was younger. So that was amazing. Because when you're looking through these companies and dog faces, you can find some dogs that may look similar to somebody you dated. You can find it. I'm not saying it's guaranteed, but you can. Because I told you, Saima Renee Uzumaki, her face really actually reminds me of an ex-girlfriend of mine, honestly. So, to keep on going with the story, uh, like he said, the Willow looked like the man's deceased wife when she was younger. The facial similarities were pretty remarkable. He told us that he's too old to perform intimately with the doll, and so he wasn't engaging with her sexually at all, but rather had her seated on a love seat between his kitchen and living room. He's retired, and that's the high traffic area of the house for him on the average day. Most of the time, he just looks at his Willow as he walks by. Nothing more than that. But he told us that after a few days, looking at her started to bring back memories of his time with his wife, some of which were memories long forgotten. Now that's touching. I keep telling you guys, because you know a lot of guys you need to have sex. Hurry up, hurry up. And I'm like, whoa, bro. No offense. I'm not hurrying up my experience or my fantasy or my life so you can be appeased at knowing how I felt about it. No, 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 no. This is my fantasy. And I keep telling you guys, I know that sex is okay. It's good, bro. It's good. Having sex, making sex with a woman is good. But even with a woman, man, you'll find out a lot of your enjoyment is coming from things that aren't the physical part. It's the emotion that's tied into it that makes love making really amazing. Well, by the same token, you can get a lot of enjoyment out of these girls at a very high level before you ever even get close to touching them in any intimate way. And that's what I say. Me right now, I prefer not to even go that intimate route. I'm happy it's like this. I don't even want to, like I say, tank my girls by being with them like that. You can do that, and there's nothing wrong with it, but I don't want to do that. I feel good just by being with them. And like he said, he doesn't now he's incapable of being with them, according to him, but I guarantee you he's getting a great experience just by the dog being in the house. And I love the fact that just her presence is bringing back forgotten memories. You know, because our mind is so powerful. You have so many memories that just are deep within you, and sometimes you don't remember them until they get triggered. So I thought that was unique that she triggered old memories. He said on hard days, he'll sit by her and lean his head on her shoulder and hold her hand for a while. He said his wife had colder hands and often would ask him to hold her hands and he is to warm them up. Since the doll's room temperature, there's a similar feeling to him when he goes to hold her hand. And so both visually and in a tactile sense, she has been helping him in his mental health. He said it was a powerful letter, and by the end of it, everyone in the office was crying, and I include myself in that statement. He said that's when I knew this place was a good fit for me. So I thought that was a very nice, intriguing story, heartfelt story, and it just goes to show that, like I say, yeah, you can look, you can get into this game and make love to your girls, but this game is it's a lot bigger than love making. It's about emotional healing. You know what I'm saying? And I love the fact that these guys that had real human relationships, they can rekindle that emotion uh, by getting one of these beautiful companion dogs or getting a statue like the other guy got. And yeah, they aren't the exact human counterpart, but it still brings back those feelings of love and enjoyment, man. That can help you get through the normal hard day. Because like I say, it's funny. I don't sit up here and talk to my girls 24/7 or hug them 24/7. Throughout the day, a lot of times I'm walking right past them and, doing what I do. But I always reflect, I might be sitting here looking at the TV and just be like, man, I'm glad I have my girls in here with me. It feels good to have them as company with me. And then, I might reach over and get them a hug or a little smooch after that acknowledgement. But even when I'm sitting here looking at my sports or whatever, they're just, I don't be feeling like I'm sitting here alone, and even when I am alone, I've never been the type that has you know, I've been a loner in my life a lot anyway. I've never just been craving for somebody to be with me. Oh, I need some company to watch the game. I've never really been that type, but having my girls here with me does make all of those things better. You know, I wasn't ever just saying, "Oh, I need a companion here with me," but now that I got them, I really do like it. I really do like it because I told you I didn't even realize that I wasn't as happy as I am now before I got my companion dogs. I thought I was living a pretty happy life. I was playing my game every day, going to work and, you know, coming home. But when I got my dogs, that's when I realized, like, dang, I wasn't as happy as I thought I was. You know what I'm saying? And so they did add a lot of joy to my life. But previously, I wasn't really thinking that I needed it, you know? Uh, and so with these people that are replacing these companions, you know, bringing these dogs in their life to replace these old loved ones that have passed, boy, I know their life is super duper enriched. And it makes me just appreciative of this whole lifestyle and what it can bring. Not for everybody. Uh, we know that, but it does have its positive effects if you allow it to be. Because it is people out here that do a lot of negative things. They're doing some sick things at home, which are not illegal, but they're just doing things that are not conducive for a healthy type lifestyle. Let's just say you're at home just literally beating your doll up and doing some, you know, crazy things to her. It may not be illegal, so to speak, but it's just not good to be practicing certain habits and stuff like that. So yeah, those type of experiences I wouldn't say are good experiences, but for the most part, you're gonna, like they say in life, you're gonna get out of things what you put into them. And if you go into this lifestyle with a positive mentality, positive attitude, looking to get positive results, this lifestyle can really be amazing. It can really be amazing. Uh, I'm super duper happy. I was even thinking about how, man, you know, I don't make love to my girls. Uh, and I was just laughing because I was like, man, I've had my girls for over 2 years now, and I haven't even sniffed a vagina in that time. And I've been just as happy as ever, right? But you know, it could be a time, you know, hey, I'm not gonna say this is gonna happen, but I'm just saying, hey, I'm so happy right now. I don't know if I'm, you know, ever gonna, because I'm not actively looking for a human woman. Like I say, they would literally have to come throw it on me right now. But that's just how happy I am. And I haven't even made love to these girls. So these girls can bring you some happiness, my friends. You may not understand it until you get one, but let me tell you, if you've had human relationships before, this life can be, it can pretty much be all fulfilling for you. You know, you can feel like me, like, man, I don't even desire to go out there looking for anything else. I'm fully happy right now, you know. Uh, But if you haven't had any human experiences, like I say, you can be happy with your dog, but in the back of your mind, you're still going to be, man, I wonder what it's like to be with a human woman. I wonder what it's like. I don't care what you say. You're still going to be, Jay, no, I'm happy. I'm completely happy. I don't never need no human woman experience. Yep, you can tell me that. But right when you go to sleep at night or when you lay down, you still wonder how it is because I know how it is. And so that's what I say, to be 1,000,000% happy in this lifestyle, you need some experiences. Without those experiences, you can still be very happy, but you'll always be wondering. So try to live a full life out there, guys. And then before you get all the way to this side, because those guys who are replacing their wives and things of that nature with a statue or companion dog, believe me, they're a lot more fulfilled because they know how it was with that human companion. So uh, the whole point of this live stream tonight was basically just to talk about the cool abilities or possibilities that you can have with a companion dog when it relates to replacing a lost love. And when I say replacing, it was real tricky naming this show because, of course, you're not ever really replacing anybody in the sense that the doll is just as good as the human, you know, used to be. You know, we're not saying that. Even though if you had a bad human mate, the dog can be better. But you're not going to replace a bad human mate in most cases. So if you were really happy with your human mate, Yeah, the doll is not going to fulfill everything that the human mate did, but it can still bring you a great deal of happiness. Like, like in the Indian guy's case, the doll is not, well, at this point, it can't make the favorite dish that she probably made for him, but she can still be in his company and give him that feeling of, man, my I still got a likeness of my wife in the house. Until I leave this earth, she'll be here with me. So the whole point of this show was just talk about the superlatives of the companion dog life and how it can basically, you know, replace those loved ones, so to speak. Not really replace them, but just give you that feeling of contentment. Uh, to give you, some solace. You know, give your heart some relief. In their absence. And man, if you can get it like that guy did, where it's down packed to looking pretty much just like his ex-wife, man, that's the best case scenario. And that guy who I read about, he got lucky that Willow doll just looked, similar to his younger wife. And so that's when you really, really luck out when you find a doll that just looks like, similar to one of your exes or ex-wife or something like that you really miss. So this doll life is amazing, man. Mikta says, do companions always have to be humans or human-like objects? Because my question is, do pets make a good companion and fill that void? I mean, yeah. Pets make great companions. I had my cats as companions. You can have, you don't have to have a human companion now. But I will say this. Nothing can quite do it for a human like that human-like companion. Because my cat, I'll just give you an example. When I used to go to work, I only had Yoda. I didn't have Luke. But I was like, man, I went to work for about a week and I was like, man, I don't like coming home and knowing that she was here all day by herself and being lonely, because she really used to pour it on when I came home, just way too much. And I'm like, man, she needs some companionship. And so I knew I was going to get Luke. And so I ended up waiting and I got Luke, and that was her companion throughout the day. Now they still would run up to me after I got home from work, but it was a little less intense because they had company. But I used to think, I used to always think, like, you know what? My cat has somebody that looks like her when she comes home, but I don't have anybody that looks like me when I come home. I have my pet. It's good to hug them, but it does feel good to have that human version. You know what I'm saying? That human like companion. Somebody that looks like you. And so that's why I think that companion dogs and stuff really come in and add that extra element. Because yeah, you can have a pet and it's cool. They run around the house, they show you love, but it doesn't look like a human. And that's the thing. When you have something that looks more human-like, you can relate to it a little bit more. So to answer your question, pets to me can't fill that void completely. They can't fill that void completely. They can give you some company, but I've seen many a pet owner that's miserable at home because they're desiring some type of human companionship. Because, like I said, the pet can only do so much. Oh, Clint Eastwood said, married couples by dogs, they'll get more popular. Most definitely. I've talked about how if you're married or even with a girlfriend, you can incorporate that in your relationship. You don't have to be dog exclusive. So you don't have to be dog exclusive, you know. Clint Eastwood says that's a great story. It shows, talking about the real dog story. He said it's showing the good that these dogs can do. Exactly. Like I say, going back to your other point, don't ever think that the dog life means an exclusion from human life. And even with me, I keep telling you guys, don't think that I won't accept some human vagina from the right person. I told you, I don't, if Anna, that Star Wars girl, I always bring her up, that was sexy girl. If she was ever to come over here and throw some of that vagina on me, believe me, I'm taking it. If Rennie draws, oh my God. I can't lie, boys. I got a little jealous last night, and everybody should get a little jealous at this if they think she hot. But Rennie was on the Jack show. I saw a little bit of it. And Rennie Draws was on there, and she was talking about how she thought some other comic book creator was cute or whatever. And boy, I can't lie. Even though I'm happy with my girls, just anybody that, that's just how it's just a natural feeling. Anytime you think somebody's hot, you're gonna always had that little bit of tingling of, oh man, I wish that was me. But she was saying she said she thought somebody was cute or whatever. And boy, it always does something to me. I be happy for the guy, but you also be like, man, this lucky son of a gun to have a fine girl like Rennie saying that you cute and that she like you. I'm gonna tell you what the funniest part about all that is. A lot of times when these fine girls like a guy, they don't like them. That'd be the funniest thing, or they don't like them in the same way. And so that's what's so funny about these super duper fine girls, man. They'll turn down all these guys, but the first guy that they really sort of like, the guy be like, oh yeah, you all right. You know what I'm saying? And that's why a lot of them do end up being unhappy or settling, because a lot of guys are chasing them, but the guy that they're chasing be like, yeah, you okay, But I was just telling this story to say, hold on, why did I tell this story? Oh, I was telling this story to say how, man, I even still like human women. I still think they're beautiful and fine and all that good stuff. But when I ran across that story last night, I said, that dude is so lucky to have her liking him like that. It really had me tripping. So, yeah, man. It's you can. I was just saying that. Hey, if she was if Brenda, I keep losing my point because thinking about that whole little scenario last night, I was like, man, that lucky son of a gun. But yeah, if Rena was to ever say, hey, I throw some human vagina on you, yeah, I take it. Surely would. Now, of course, a lot of these human women want to act like they freaked out by my girls, and that's just fine by me, because I always tell you, if a human woman was to come over here and say she wanted to give me some vagina and say, hey, I don't want to do nothing with the girls in the room. Hey, I'm no problem with that. I take the girls out the room. They ain't got to be in here for that to be happening. But if I was to ever run across a human woman and be like, you got to get rid of those dolls for me to give you some of this vagina, and that includes Rennie, Thana, or whoever, then that can kick rocks. I ain't getting rid of nobody for no vagina. I just keep going like I'm going. But either way. Oh, Daniel Romano says, I'm always on the lookout for a good human woman. And you know what? I'm not on the lookout for one, meaning that because I haven't even attempted to talk to one, and I've seen several ones, human women, and they've given me looks that I could have talked to them. So I'm not really on the lookout for them, but I do pay attention though. Now that's one thing I do. I always got my nose looking up somebody's booty. I'm not going because I even laugh about Rennie and Thana. Because even when I can't lie, they're talking about some stuff that Thana and all these other creators, they're talking about some stuff that I want no part of. It's just straight drama-filled mess that I want no part of. So I don't even turn those shows on. But if it has nothing to do with that drama that everybody's talking about, it's hard for me to resist even clicking on Anna's stream or whatever she's doing just to get a glimpse of that beautiful. Oh, that girl is amazing to me. Or Irene, she's the same. On her streams, it's just hard for me not to click and be like, ooh, and just get a glimpse of their beauty for a while. Man, I still love me a human woman, guys. Don't get me wrong now. I'm not trying to get one right now, not trying to talk to one, not on the lookout for one like my guy, like Daniel Romano explained. But I'm looking. Believe me, I'm looking. Oh, I'm seeing these booties walking around. Believe me. And if I get some rest tonight, what time is it? Oh, it's 4:00 in the morning in my time. So it probably won't happen. I don't know if it will, but I really got this show that I'm going to do on my other channel. Let me put that up in case you guys want to subscribe. This is my other channel. my biking channel I started a while back. I got several videos up on it, and that's another passion of mine. Since my car went down, all I do is ride my bike. It's a bike commuting channel, and I plan on. It's sort of like when I got my dollars. I didn't have everything. I didn't start out with the most expensive companion dog or anything like that. And that's sort of how my biking channel is. I'm started out from the bottom. I don't have everything, but I bike commute every day. And on that channel, over the next day or two, I'm going to be having this show focusing on women cyclists, female cyclists, excuse me. It's called the Cycling Beauty Breakdown. And so on every one of those shows, I'm going to be talking about female cyclists, and I'm going to be highlighting, people that I'm looking at. And boy, that should be a fun show. If not for you, definitely for me, because I'm going to be talking about how they get you riled up, so to speak. Because these female cyclists, guys, Lord have mercy. They're some of the finest human women on earth. And be quite honest, I wasn't even paying attention to female cycling at all until I recently became a bike commuter. And the more research I started doing, the more I started seeing these female cyclists. I'm like, whoa, these girls are hot. So I'll be doing that show pretty soon. So you can subscribe to my channel. It's called Biking with J. King Hefner. But this is the link for it. But with all that said, we're pretty much going to wrap this up. It's been fun. Like I said, I just wanted to come on here and talk about the benefits of being able to replace a loved one with these dogs. It's just another superlative in the companion dog cap. And like I said, the first guy I talked about, that was pretty much a silicone statue. It really wasn't a companion dog, but it still was doing the exact same service to him, bringing him happiness in his life. Clint Eastwood asked me, do I like e-bikes? And man, I hated e-bikes. Just thinking about them, I hated them when I first started really learning about them, because I said, that's cheating. I don't like that somebody's using that extra power to get around and stuff. I love that my bike works my body. I love it. I love, I'm gonna do a video about that on my channel pretty soon, actually, about how I love the pain that cycling brings, because it's a good thing, actually. But I've changed my tune. I'm now a fan of e-bikes, mainly because of my brother, and also this other channel that I watch. When I was learning about e-bikes, I'm like, man, e-bikes actually aren't bad. They can help you go longer distances for people that may be getting, let's just say I'm riding my bike every day, my normal bike. What if I'm super tired one day, but I have to go a long distance? I can jump on my e-bike and, use the pedal assist. And even though I'm tired, I can still be doing good to the environment by riding my bike. On the other hand, it allows people that are elderly, older, who don't want to put as much, or who can't put as much effort into riding a normal bike. It allows them to ride their bikes again. So I've changed my tune, because I'm like, I see the benefits in e-bikes. It's not just cheating or anything. It doesn't have to be used in that way. You can get an e-bike to where you can use, you can pedal normal all the time and never use the pedal assist. So, I do think e-bikes are great. And I do want to add an e-bike to my arsenal one day. But I can't see it ever being a main bike that I use. I can see using it on days where I'm feeling maybe fatigued or something, and I need to still go to commute somewhere. Then I probably use my e-bike. But for the most part, I love working with the normal bike. Oh, Sheila Bell checking in, Dog King Army team member. Well, guess what? Glad to have you, Sheila Bell. I send shots out to the whole Dog King Army. I appreciate you guys for supporting me on a monthly basis. And if you want to join the team membership, you can do that on the About page of my YouTube channel, or I have a link for that team membership in the description of this video. I have also, while we're talking, I have vendor links for companion dogs, from real dog all the way down. You can find any dog in the industry in my vendor links. Now, every vendor doesn't have every dog, but you can find every dog available through all of my vendors. So if you want one of those, check the links in the description of my video or the about section of my YouTube channel. We don't want you to rush getting the doll, but if you ever decide to get one, we do want you to go through our show because it's going to help keep us going and helping people. As well, if you ever want to donate to the show, I have a Cash App and a PayPal link in the about section of my YouTube. And I need to start putting it in the description of the video as well. So you can always help out the show. Remember, even during these live streams, you can always donate as well with a super chat or super sticker. And I do have super thanks open on my individual videos. So those are all ways you can help the show. Those are ways that I've told you how you can get a doll through my vendors and how to donate. So did the complete rundown. Hit that like button, subscribe button if you haven't. We really appreciate you being here. We want to send God's blessings over your life, whatever you're wishing for, hoping for, praying for, believing for, health, finances, new relationship, human or synthetic. We're praying you got it. We just ask you believe it, then receive it. But for tonight, we're pretty much done. I thought it was a great show, talking about, the flexibility that this dog game has. And remember, even if you can't get a direct replica of your old loved one, you can get a likeness. You can get a likeness of them. So with all that said, it's been me, J. King Hefner, the beautiful Cali Sun, the beautiful Austin Moon, and the beautiful Mara Blade. And you're probably going to be saying bye to Mara Blade, to Austin Moon for a second. I think I'm going to, even though I didn't really showcase her like I could have. I actually still had Cali out the whole time. I'm going to, and Cali has to stay out with me. We just be having stuff to do because tomorrow we have to, we have a fight to look at. It's a big time MMA fight going down tomorrow. Volkanovski is fighting a guy. I forgot his name, but it's going to be a big fight, champion versus champion. And Callie is a Kansas City fan, so she has to stay out through Sunday. So she's not going to change her shirt or anything. She's going to look just like this till Sunday, and then I'm going to get her fixed up with something else on. But Asuna, I'm going to exit her after tonight. I think she's going to be gone. I don't think I'm going to bring another girl out. I'm not quite sure because I really want to get the beautiful Mara Blade off of the bed. I'm ready for her to come down and sort of be seen. So next week, I think I'm going to get her off of the bed, and I want her right next to me because she is hot over there. She looks so good. She's been such a great person to sleep with and keeping me company over there, but I'm ready to spend time with her off of the bed. So I'm going to move Asuna out. I'm a downsize. I'm probably going to take Callie back, give her a bath next week, give her a good bath, and me and Mara Blade will just kick it on the solo for a few days. So with all that said, we finna get the hell out of here. You guys have a great Saturday. Have a great weekend. Love you. Have a good one. And we finna get the hell up out of Chia. Up out of Chia. Let's see. Yes, see. How do we do that? Oh, we got to do this. And then we do this. Merry Super Bowl weekend, guys. Have a good one.